everybody. Welcome to the Gabby U Show. I am your host, Gabby Udobor. And today, this episode, I have an amazing guest, Alison Leitheiser. And so, before we go into our discussion, I will tell you some things about her. Everyone has their own challenges, but when Alison was 16, she was stopped in her tracks. She had seizures, fatigue, organ damage, and paralysis. She could not move from the neck down. A virus had gotten into her spinal cord, and she became a quadriplegic. Unwilling to accept seats on the sidelines, she wanted to participate in life more and spent 2 decades learning and healing. Her experiences changed the course of her life as she found a passion for helping others to find hope and healing. So she started on her own road as an alternative healthcare practitioner in 2002 and then started her own clinical practice in 2009. And today, she loves working with people's health challenges and helping them find their way to wellness. Now, she wants to give that experience of feeling better, helping as many people to participate in life more and reclaim their health. And that is Alison Leitheiser. Welcome, Alison, to the Gabby U Show.
Gabby, thank you so much. I'm delighted to be with you. It's splendid to be here. I'm very excited.
Yes, I'm excited to have you here today. So, Alison, before we get into our discussions, I have 2 questions, like I call them my icebreaker questions, to kind of know some things about you. More things. Of course, we're going to be knowing more as we go on. So, but these 2 questions, I call them my icebreaker questions. So, my first question for you is, what is your favorite food?
Oh, this is hard for me. It's going to be a 3-way tie, Gabby. Avocado, bacon, and dark chocolate.
Oh, avocado. So, do you eat them together?
I've never tried it. Maybe I should.
Yeah,
definitely avocado and bacon. But
okay. Yeah, avocado and bacon, I could see. And then add chocolate, maybe drizzle chocolate on it.
Maybe I'll have to get in the kitchen later on.
Girl, that's what I do. I call my kitchen lab. I try different stuff. My husband is like, what are you cooking now?
That's why you have that recipe book coming out.
Yes. Okay, well, those are all good foods. I think I like all those ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is, what is your favorite quote? I know you probably have a lot of favorites, but one that's just.
Yeah, I love, actually, it's a Bible verse. It's Nehemiah 8:10. The joy of the Lord is my strength is my favorite.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
Yeah. It's a Bible verse, and it's the joy of the Lord is my strength.
Oh, yes. Yeah. That is an awesome one. The joy of the Lord is my strength.
Yeah.
And that comes through, sometimes, it's very good to remember that kind of verse. Especially when you're going through hard times,
Yeah.
You think about that,
Yes, you do.
That will help you through. It might be that you're not having joy that time, but that's, having that joy that the Lord,
yeah,
it will give you that strength. So that is an awesome one. Okay. Yeah. So, Alison, the next thing I want you to talk to me about is, I want you to share with me the key things that you feel that have shaped you to be the woman you are today. Your victories, your struggles, is it from health, is it from career, relationships? Just go all the way and tell us.
Well, I can't wait to share with you guys. Yeah. I I went to church this morning actually, and they were talking about suffering. And I would say I've had a fair amount of suffering on a physical level, and that led to like emotional, mental, spiritual suffering as well. But they gave this image and I just loved it. And they were saying, if you are suffering, it purifies you, and it makes you better. It brings you to who you're meant to be, and it changes things for you. So I would say suffering has definitely changed me. And they talked about a tree and the roots growing down. And if the roots are going down and they hit rock, that's hard. but when you break through, then you get to that water, the sweetness of that. And so I, my family is really important to me, and I'm the youngest of 5. And so we really supported each other. But when I was 16, we all got the surprise, right, of when I became quadriplegic. So I got a virus in my spinal cord, and it didn't happen all at once. It happened over a few months where I started falling a lot and I felt terrible. I was really exhausted and had really bad headache all the time. And I felt bad. I just really felt bad. And then I couldn't walk after a while, and then I couldn't sit up anymore. And I was having all these nervous system problems and hypersensitivity. I really had a hard time with noise and any light. And then I also couldn't, I was having a lot of blood pressure issues. And even if someone sat me up, I would pass out. And I was having a lot of seizures, and I wasn't having kidney and liver failure, but I was right on the border. So I was in a tremendous amount of nerve pain. I always had feeling in my legs and in my arms, but the feeling was incredibly intense pain. So I had that for a long time, and I went through various stages of being paralyzed. So I was very, very paralyzed for a while. And then I found some things to help me, but they weren't really sustainable. So we just kept looking, going to doctor after doctor. And it was really discouraging because, you're in the alternative wellness practice yourself, and so many people come to you probably and be like, I've tried 8,000 doctors and no one can help me fix my hormones, or no one can help me with my gut health. And that was kind of where we were at. And we went to so many specialists, and they all said, either you're crazy, we can't help you, or you're making this up. So that was not helpful. And I really had a hard time with my mindset at that time. I didn't want to live like all my friends were going to prom and going off to college, and I was not sure if I was going to live or die. They didn't know. And I really didn't want to live that way. So I was in a deep depression for a while. And then I did start getting better. We went to a clinic that's called integrative manual therapy. That's what they specialize in. And they said, we think we can help you. So my mom and I were crying, because that was the first time we had hope. And hope that would be my second favorite quote, Gabby. There's a poem by Emily Dickinson. It says, hope is a thing with feathers that perches in the soul, that sings a song without words and never stops at all. And that hope had stopped for me. I didn't really have a lot of hope. So getting better and going through the process of getting better really inspired me to want to bring that hope to others who had, either difficulty finding someone to help them, or to just validate their story and move on from there. So the journey that I went through was just a really long time of trying to get those symptoms back to normal. And I have, and I'm thriving now. And I am, an athlete, and I love playing with my kids on the playground, and I love swimming and hiking and all that stuff. So it's been a pretty incredible journey. It's been ups and downs. Healing is never a straight line. So I had many years of working towards improvement, and then 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and that process of healing really has given me a heart for others, and wanting to encourage them in their healing process and wherever they're at with that. So that's definitely made me who I am today. And the faith that I found, and the people that I found, and the connection that I have with my family is all, it all shapes up. I feel like a little ice cream cone that got molded, or like a scoop that got molded on all sides, So I think COVID was a big turning point for me, because I was very content in my clinical practice and working one-on-one. And I always felt the nudge to be a little bigger, but sharing, what I know, and sharing my story. And I didn't really like to tell my story. I would sort of say I used to be quadriplegic, but now I'm better. Yay, let's move on. because there's a lot of suffering, a lot of stuff that I didn't really want to remember. But after 10 years of trauma therapy and stuff, I feel like way more willing to share and be able to speak out and hopefully help others and encourage others on their journey. But during COVID, I also was moved because I have a lot of tools to help people at home where they don't have to necessarily depend on going to a practitioner all the time to support their health. And so that was a really big mobilization point for me to get out there and want to share my knowledge and my experience with other people to give them hope and to give them support. To empower them to really support themselves, honestly, is what I love to do. So that's been my focus. And I love helping other people become more connected to themselves, to their bodies, and balance their nervous system.
Your story is amazing. I know when we were, before we started recording, I know I was just sharing, or just asking, I know I asked you that, are you walking now? Because from my experience of the people I've worked with that are quadriplegic, they seem like it's lifetime. They will tell me, oh, I've been quadriplegic since I was a teenager or since I was a child, maybe they're in their 30s or 40s now. And for you, be able to recover. I know there are different levels of different things for people, but yours is an amazing story that, and there's a reason sometimes things happen. And if maybe this has not happened, you wouldn't be helping so many people. You'll be just doing your own thing. Like, I'm just doing my own self. But it was a painful experience. I mean, it felt, like you lost that, late teenagers life, kind of. But it's because you were preparing, this was preparing you for a greater purpose. And it's just a way of changing those lemons into sweet lemonade.
That's right.
Yeah, not just lemonade, sour lemonade.
Yeah.
Sweet ones. And that's the thing, it's amazing when, when I hear people with this kind of stories, which is one of the things that make me to, start the show, that, there are stories out there that needs to be shared to help other people out there. And, it's very good to share the story, because sometimes the healing actually comes. More healing comes when you share your story. You might be like, oh, I don't want to share because you remember it will bring bad memories or something. But actually, it's a lot of healing. And sometimes it's not easy, But once you finally do it, it might take you 10 years, 15, 20 years before even sharing your story. But sharing your story is a very good way of also helps in the healing, of whatever you would have gone through, trauma, child abuse, any kind of things in your life, health. And you're amazed how many people is helping, which you will have seen, because there's just one thing of when you experience something and you're trying to help somebody, and you there's something about it's not just from the textbook. It's not in the, because for you, it kind of gives that person like, oh my goodness, this practitioner or this person helping me went through this journey, so I can do this. Or it just to have so much. So it's like you carry the cross to be able to help the other people.
I always get really inspired by other people's stories, and I love that part about the Olympics. We just, this past summer when we had it, the Tokyo Olympics, when we get to hear the stories of how they overcame their obstacles and how they can still triumphed in their high level sport. I love that stuff.
So talking about that high level story, you need to share with us that you were in the what you call it, American Ninja Warrior.
Oh yes.
Yeah. To share with us that, because I have to tell you, like, look at this lady that look at what she's fully functional.
Yeah. I was on 2 seasons of American Ninja Warrior, and I had a clinical practice with my business partner, and he was really into parkour and Ninja Warrior. So we had our clinical therapy practice, and then we also had we opened a gym also with parkour and Ninja Warrior, and he had been doing Ninja Warrior, so he convinced me to do it too. And I was a competitive gymnast, and I actually wanted to go to the Olympics when I was younger, before I got ill. And I was like, okay, sure, that looks fun. And it was so fun to just climb around. It was like being a big kid on a big playground. So I loved it, and it was fun.
Okay, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. And how long ago was that?
I was trying to think. It's probably been 8 years, because my daughter was pretty little. They film in the middle of the night.
Okay.
So it was kind of tricky to be a mom with little kids and do that.
So you already had one kid that time?
Two.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Look at that. You're a badass.
So my sister-in-law came down with us, and she woke up the kids and brought them because they wanted to see us run. And I think mine was like at 3 a.m. or something. And so I got on an obstacle, and I heard she had like the loudest voice of any little kid I've ever heard. And so she started to chant. She was like, "Mommy, mommy," and the whole crowd started going, "Mommy." And I was trying to be like serious on this obstacle, and I was just giggling. It was fun. Goodness. I fell, but it was fine.
How old was she?
What'd you say?
How old was she?
I think she was 2 or 3 at that time.
Oh my goodness. Look at that. I mean, this some of the things we do, our kids to see us and they get encouraged, and
yeah.
And, because some of all these things in life, whatever we're doing, the kids are watching, and talking about taking care of yourself, it's also taking care of the loved ones around you. We're doing it for your loved ones as well,
Yeah.
So
I was listening to another episode that you did with Kim Minch, and she was talking about, who you become when you raise your kids. And she mentioned like this incredible importance of self-care, and how you can't give what you don't have. And I think I love working with women, and I love working particularly with moms, because if we can make ourselves feel better and balance our own nervous systems and kind of get back into balance, back into our center, we can serve our kids, we can serve our clients, we can serve people in a much better way. So
yes,
I love that. Yeah.
Yes, and that is the women. We are very powerful. I mean, that's why I don't know if I'll say it's a quote or a word. They talk and say, if mom is not happy and nobody's happy. When mama is not happy, nobody is happy. But it's so, because women, we can do so many multiple things, and it's just so essential that women are empowered, have that balance of mind, body, and spirit, because we have a very big role to play in the family. In even if you're not even married, you still you have so much things in the world, to give. So it's so important to take care of ourselves, women.
That's right. Yeah. So important.
Mm-hmm. So that comes to this a good segue into the next thing I want to ask you. So what would you say you are most proud as a woman today?
My kids. I think when my older two were little, I was still kind of up and down with my health. I did do American Ninja Warrior, but I also, right after my second season, I went back into a wheelchair for a short period of time.
Oh, really?
And I had a lot of stuff come back because of a surgery that I had and just kind of like set everything off for a little while. So it took a bit to get that straightened out. And, my son, where we lived, my son's school was like 4 blocks away. The library was 2 blocks away, and the grocery store was 3 blocks away. So it was ideal. It was a wonderful place to live, but I couldn't even walk a block at that time because it was so challenging for me. And I felt really bad because I was such a lame mom. I just was like, had a hard, I couldn't play with the kids. I couldn't, interact with them in the way that I wanted to. And, my son and my daughter, I just felt like a lot of guilt and shame around that. And what I realize now is they are so incredibly compassionate. They're very high energy, very, they're big athletes as well, but they also are the most compassionate kids that I've ever met. And one of the times I was struggling, and my son and my daughter loved to go to the library, and I was having a good day, and I was like, you guys, I think I can take you to the library today. And so they loved riding their scooters. So I said, grab your scooters, let's go. And my daughter took off, and my son was walking next to me, and he was 5, I think, at the time. And he was in kindergarten, and he was walking next to me with a scooter. And I was like, don't you want to ride your scooter? And he was like, no, I'm okay. And it kind of came out later. I kept being like, why aren't you riding? It just seemed kind of weird to me, very uncharacteristic. And then it came out that he thought, well, I'll bring my scooter, and if in case we have a hard time, or in case I get too tired on the way home, he could push me home. I was like, oh gosh. Oh my God. Yeah. So just like as a 5-year-old, the heart that he had was so sweet. And I love seeing them interact with people who aren't feeling well, or they just have a really lovely way of treating them with dignity and respect and gentleness.
Yes. Yeah. And you're like, Mama did something wrong.
I guess it wasn't all bad, Gabby. I guess it wasn't all bad.
Because I know how it is, I mean, I don't know, I would say how it is, but, working with people that are very sick, working as a bedside nurse and different kind of settings, the young people that are sick, that have kids, like moms, and, you see how their frustration, like, oh, I wish I could do this for my kids. I hope my kids will learn. Every time I'm always sick. And, that it's just so, it's heartbreaking, you feel how they're like, oh,
yeah,
my kid has this and I can't go because I'm tired. Or if they want to go for some things, I've seen some, they'll say they want to go for some events. The kids are even the one who tell them that, Mom, no, you can't because you will be tired, or something will happen, or you'll be,
Yeah.
And I mean, later on, the kids become so good, like, even though you feel like you weren't there for everything, or all these things that you think you missed, but at the end of the day, you sit there and see them go be great kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is amazing. Yeah. So what would be some encouraging words that you want to give our listeners today? I mean, all the things you have said are all encouraging, but I just want you to tie this in the bow here. And
yeah, I wanted to give up so many times, Gabby. I had a lot of other, with my 3rd kid, I had hyperemesis. And so I was throwing up double digits every day. I couldn't keep anything down for the entire pregnancy.
Wow.
And I wasn't sleeping. I was having like months of where I was sleeping 1, maybe 2 hours a night. And anyway, there was like lots of times of desperation. And especially when I was in the throes of being quadriplegic when I was 16, I really was not interested in living and wasn't quite sure if it was worth it. And there's been many times over the years where I've been struggling to get better, and I wasn't quite sure. And I guess what I would like to tell your listeners is that your body's worth fighting for. Like, there is redemption and healing and relief available. You just have to find the right combination, right, the right door to go in. And what's cool about the body is that our Creator made us perfectly, wonderfully, and there's so many different ways to approach it. And just finding the right way for your body is so magical when you do find it. And it is a lot of hard work, but your body is worth fighting for.
Mm-hmm. That is so good. I think that is the kind of way I felt with myself. It's, when I struggled with GI problems for almost 10 years, had this thing, chronic constipation, on and on, fatigue. And, it was frustrating, like, okay, they couldn't find out what was wrong with me. But I was like, there should be something out there
Yeah.
And over the time, of course, I felt like God led me to this functional medicine provider, which I saw. I was, stalking her on Facebook. I see her posting all these pictures, and I kept on saving. It's like I'll go back to it. And so when I got that last straw of being tired of taking all these multiple medications, doing lab work and not getting better, I was like, okay, maybe I should check out this lady. And is that you just have to keep seeking for that, and it is worth fighting for, because it was something that I was tired of getting tired. I mean, I already had all my kids, my 4 kids. I'm a big family person, and I was just like, just feel, come back from work, you're just exhausted and just, you want to do stuff. You want like, I gotta get going. Why is this happening to me?
Definitely.
We have to fight for ourselves. Like, don't give up, because where there is life, there is hope. It might take so many years, but you will eventually find it. And I know, as a woman of faith, a lot of prayers for God to lead me where I should go for this. And I mean, I know not all of our listeners might be like, I'm a Christian, not everybody believes in that, but somehow there is a way for this life. You have been put in this planet.
Yeah.
So there is a way. I'm not to give up, So I really like those your encouraging words. I mean, those I can really relate to that as well. So yeah, awesome. So Alison, so how can people connect with you? Um, you can share your social media handles. You have your website. Are you doing any projects? Is there any things that you want to give the listeners? Anything, just share it with us here.
Yeah, I have a free Facebook group where I post lots of wonderful ways, alternative ways to heal your body. And I usually go with a different theme each week. So it might be like the liver one week, or headaches another week. And we do also like mindset and overcoming depression, that kind of thing too. So I have a free video that I send you when you join the Facebook group. So that's really fun, because it shows you how you can discern what's good and helpful for your body and what's not so good or helpful, with just some range of motion. So you can, when you train at the level of your nervous system, you get an immediate response. So I love that free video that people can access, because it really opens up a new way of thinking about things. So when people join my group, it's called Inner Restoration. Yeah, they can get that free video. And then go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah. I also do a free 5-day training called the Wellness Jumpstart. So I do that every few months, and you can get more information about that in my Facebook group.
Yeah. So there's a lot of goodies in that Facebook group. We need to all join it.
Mm-hmm. And then I have a paid 6-month group that I take people through, and that teaches you how to raise your level of health, like to a different baseline, so that you can participate in life more, be connected to yourself, be more active in your family. So that's really fun. I love that. I'm just starting another group right now. And I've had people with fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue syndrome or MS or Lyme disease or vestibular problems. Like, everyone's a little bit different. So it's really just, how can we equip the body to be working better, functioning more appropriately, so that we can handle those things. Our immune system can be regulated, and it's a lot about teaching our nervous system how to respond and come back into balance. So I love that group also.
Okay, that's great. And so what is your website?
Yeah, it's HTTP with the double slash and the colon, and then it's home.inner-restoration.com.
And are you on Instagram too?
Yeah, I am. It's Alison C. Leit, Leit, and Alison is ALISON.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, okay, that is great. So those are all great resources that, many things people can, start out with. So if you guys are watching this on YouTube, it's going to be on the description area with all these links um, that Alison have mentioned. And also, if you are watching it, I mean, if you are listening to it on any of the podcasts, Google, Apple, Spotify will be on that show notes. So let's try to connect with Alison. Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. So thank you so much, Alison. I really appreciate your time coming in here today.
Yeah, it was fun. I love talking to you, Gabby.
Yes, and here. Well, people, this comes to the end of this episode today. And before I end it up, I will end it up with my favorite quote from Maya Angelou that says, "When you know better, you do better." All right, guys, I will see you next time. Bye bye.